We just interviewed Steve Cropper maybe 2 months ago, and we had problems with the interview because, well, it sounded like he had a stroke, so it was hard to understand him, but he tried really, really hard, and we're trying.
The music world is in mourning today as we confirm the passing of Stephen Lee Cropper, the legendary American guitarist, songwriter, producer, and soul architect known around the world as the Colonel. Born on October 21st, 1941, and leaving this world on December 3rd, 2025, his death marks the end of an era built on the unmistakable sound of Stax Records, the heartbeat of soul music, and the quiet genius of a man who shaped some of the most beloved songs ever recorded. News of his passing came from Nashville, where his family confirmed that he passed away peacefully, offering reassurance to fans who feared something sudden or tragic. No foul play, no emergency, just a calm and dignified farewell from a man whose life was devoted to melody, rhythm, and artistic truth. Across the world, tributes continue to pour in. From musicians he shaped, from fans he inspired, and from generations who grew up with the sound of his guitar echoing through their homes, radios, and memories. Today, we remember the life, legacy, and gentle soul of a man who changed music forever. Biography: from Missouri roots to global legend. Stephen Lee Cropper was born in the small community of Dora, Missouri, where he spent his early childhood surrounded by rural quiet and a deeply grounded family life. He spent his early years between Dora and West Plains before moving with his family to Memphis at 9 years old. A move that unknowingly set the stage for one of the greatest musical journeys of the 20th century. Memphis in the 1950s was alive with sound. Street corners vibrated with gospel harmonies, blues riffs, R&B rhythms, and the emerging voices of local musicians who didn't yet realize they were creating history. Young Steve absorbed it all. He fell in love with the raw emotion of black church music and the deep groove that flowed through the city. At 14, he received his first guitar, a simple gift that sparked a lifetime of creation. He carefully studied his musical heroes: Tal Farlow's smooth jazz lines, Chuck Berry's electrified energy, Jimmy Reed's blues, Chet Atkins' fingerstyle finesse, and the soul-charged playing of Loman Pauling and Billy Butler. His early inspirations created the signature Cropper sound: clean, sharp, minimal, and deeply expressive. Career: creating the sound of Stax Cropper's professional journey began when he and friend Charlie Freeman formed a high school band called the Royal Spades, later renamed the Marquees to honor the marquee of the Stax building. Their 1961 hit, Last Night, gave the young guitarist his first taste of national success and opened the door to Stax Records, then known as Satellite Records. Inside Stax, magic happened. Cropper became an essential figure, not just a guitarist, but an arranger, producer, songwriter, and creative force. He joined forces with Booker T. Jones, Louis Steinberg, and Al Jackson Jr. to form Booker T and the MGs, a group that would go on to define the sound of Memphis soul for generations. As the Stax House Band, they backed legendary artists including Otis Redding, Wilson Pickett, Sam and Dave, Carla Thomas, Rufus Thomas, Johnny Taylor, and Albert King. Cropper's guitar wasn't flashy, it was purposeful. Every note meant something. Every riff carried weight. His playing served the song, the artist, and the message. He co-wrote some of the most iconic songs in modern music, including Knock on Wood, In the Midnight Hour, and Sittin' On, The Dock of the Bay. Dock of the Bay, completed shortly after Otis Redding's passing, remains one of the most emotional and enduring pieces of American music. Cropper's arrangements carried Otis's final melody into immortality. Even the Beatles admired Cropper. Paul McCartney and John Lennon hoped to record with him in Memphis, a nearly historic collaboration canceled only because manager Brian Epstein feared security risks. Still, their interest proved what many already knew. Steve Cropper was one of the greatest guitarists alive. The next chapter: producer, collaborator, icon. After leaving Stax in 1970, Cropper co-founded TMI, Too Much Information Studios, continuing to create, produce, and collaborate with some of the most influential artists of the era. His work extended to Rod Stewart, the Jeff Beck Group, Jose Feliciano, Tower of Power, John Lennon, Ringo Starr, and John Prine. By the mid-1970s, he joined Levon Helm's RCO All-Stars, an ensemble of genre-defying musicians. Shortly after, he achieved mainstream recognition as a member of the Blues Brothers Band, appearing in films, on stage, and on soundtracks that brought soul and R&B to a new generation. His on-screen presence, Telecaster in hand, became iconic. He continued recording, touring, and collaborating throughout the 1980s, 90s, and beyond. He reunited with Booker T and the MGs for special performances, including Bob Dylan's 30th anniversary concert, and worked with artists such as Eric Clapton, Vince Gill, Robert Cray, and Billy Gibbons. In 2007, he helped shape Guy Sebastian's Memphis album. In 2008, he released Nudge It Up a Notch with Felix Cavaliere. In 2011, he released Dedicated, a tribute to the Five Royales. Even into his 80s, Cropper continued to record. In 2024, he released Friendly Town, featuring Billy Gibbons and Brian May, a final reminder that his creativity never stopped. Awards and accomplishments. Steve Cropper's career was honored repeatedly. Two-time Grammy Award winner inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, inducted into the Songwriters Hall of Fame, ranked number 36 on Rolling Stone's 100 Greatest Guitarists list, named Greatest Living Guitar Player by Mojo Magazine. Honored with countless Lifetime Achievement Awards, his achievements reflect a lifetime of dedication, but his true impact goes far beyond trophies. Cause of death. According to a statement released by Steve Cropper's family and reported by Variety, the legendary musician passed away peacefully in Nashville on December 3, 2025. There was no foul play, no emergency, no crisis. Early reporting emphasizes that his passing was calm, dignified, and exactly as his loved ones described it. Family statements are treated as authoritative unless further information is released publicly by medical or legal officials. At this time, the only verified detail is that he left this world in peace, surrounded by clarity and respect. Family and personal life. Steve Cropper's life was shaped not only by music, but by the people who stood beside him through every era of his journey. He was married 3 times. His first marriage was to Sharon P., whom he wed in the late 1960s during the height of the Stax Records era. Although the marriage eventually ended, it marked the beginning of Cropper's life as both a rising musician and a young husband learning to balance fame with family. He later married Betty Jean Crow, a partner who supported him throughout some of his most demanding touring years. Together, they welcomed his daughter, Laura Cropper, who remained one of the central lights of his life. Steve often expressed how proud he was of Laura and how grounding fatherhood had been for him across decades of global recognition. Cropper eventually found lasting companionship with his third wife, Angie Cropper, whom he married in 2008. Angie became his closest confidant, his emotional anchor, and the partner who walked beside him through his later career achievements, inductions, honors, and life at home. Friends frequently noted the gentleness and warmth the couple shared, a partnership defined by respect, humor, and unwavering support. At the time of his passing, Steve Cropper was surrounded by the love of his immediate family: Angie Cropper, wife, Laura Cropper, daughter, extended relatives, in-laws, and the close friends he treated as family throughout his life. In interviews, Cropper often spoke of his family as his true north. Even with global success, multiple awards, and legendary collaborations, he believed that family, not fame, was the real measure of a life well lived. Their presence, love, and unity remained the heart of his world, until the very end. Personal life and character. Despite being one of the most influential guitarists in history, Steve Cropper stayed humble throughout his life. Friends often described him as gentle, steady, and quietly brilliant, a man who cared more about the music than the attention around it. He valued collaboration, kindness, and authenticity. He approached music with intention, heart, and a deep respect for every artist he worked with. His family, friends, and colleagues now mourn not just a legend, but a loving presence whose wisdom and warmth shaped every space he entered. Legacy. The guitar that built soul. Music. Steve Cropper's legacy is immeasurable. He shaped the sound of Stax Records, defined the soul of the 1960s, influenced every guitarist who came after him, and helped create songs that have become part of global culture. His riffs continue to be studied. His writing continues to be admired. His arrangements continue to be performed. He proved that you don't need complexity to create greatness. Sometimes, the simplest, cleanest, most heartfelt note is the one that lasts forever. Final tribute. As the world says goodbye to Steve Cropper, we feel the weight of what we've lost, but we also feel the beauty of what he left behind. His music still breathes, his riffs still echo, his songs still comfort, and his influence still inspires young musicians who pick up a guitar for the very first time. Rest peacefully, Colonel. Your sound shaped our world, your music shaped our hearts, and your legacy will play on for generations.